Hello again, students. This is Mr. Bebermeyer. This is the dissecting a flower video that we are going to do next. We planted our radish seeds and now we are going to review the parts of a flower and dissect it. Before we get started, I wanted to just remind you that there is this resource. This diagram of a flower is posted in the resources section underneath your assignment in the assignment tab on Teams. So when you click on the assignment and you're looking at it, you should see a resource right below it. You could download this to your computer, and then you could use it as a reference. You could go back and forth. You could pause the video and then look at the diagram if you had a question or if you wanted to, learn a little bit more about it or see what the part looks like. So we are going to dissect a hibiscus flower today, and that's what a hibiscus flower looks like. This is what a hibiscus bush looks like. It's a relatively common flower or bush here in Florida, but if you don't have any in your neighborhood, you might be able to convince somebody at a lawn and garden store, or maybe someone at Walmart that works, wherever they sell plants. They usually sell these, and they might let you take a flower off of the plant if you told them. Given everything that's going on, you told them that it's for an online experiment, that I showed you how to dissect a flower and you wanted to try to do it yourself to learn more about it, they probably would go ahead and give you one. So I'm going to go ahead and start talking about the parts of a flower as we dissect this one. The first part I want to talk about is the sepal. That's this green part right here. It kind of supports or anchors the flower, kind of holds the petals in place. I'm going to just peel it off because I found that peeling it off first usually makes things a little bit easier. The next part of the flower I'm going to take off is the petals. And the petals are brightly colored to attract bees, because bees are very important in the pollination process, and there's a little bug right on top of the stigma as we speak right now. But these are the petals, so they attract bees. So I'm going to go ahead and move all this stuff out of the way, and we're going to get to what I think is the most interesting part of the flower, of the dissection process. And we are going to dissect the stigma. We're going to dissect the pistil and the stamen. The stamen consists of an anther and a filament. The pistil is the female part of the flower. It consists of a stigma, style, ovary, and the ovules. So let's just start with the male portion. Okay, the male part of the flower is this part right here. This is the filament and the anther, and this is where the pollen is kept. And I'm trying to knock some of these off my little tweezers that I have. Okay, you can see those there. I would try to zoom in on it, but the zoom is not very good. So I have another picture that I took when I did a practice run of this. So there's an up close version. You see the little stem. Okay, the little stem, that is your filament, and the anther is the part that's on top of the stem. That's the part that holds the pollen. So that's what it looks like up close. Okay, so that's the male part of the flower. That's the stamen. And if you ever, if you have trouble remembering which one is the male part, which one's the female part, stamen ends in the letters M-E-N, and therefore that must be the male part. All right, the next part of the flower that we're going to talk about, or the other part of the flower I should say, is the pistil. Okay, and the pistil consists of, I'm just going to start at the top and work my way down. The pistil consists of the stigma. This is the stigma. This is the part of the flower that receives the pollen. Okay, this is where the fertilization process, the pollination process, they kind of merge together. And this is what the stigma looks like. Bring it a little bit closer there for you. I also did take a picture on my phone. Okay, and like I said, the stigma, that's where the pollen gets deposited in the fertilization process. Okay, next part that we're going to talk about is, I'm going to skip the anther in the filament, I'm going to talk about this long piece. This long piece is called the style. The style basically supports and holds the stigma. So you're probably having trouble seeing that, so I'll move it over this way a little bit. So there's your style. And that brings us to the last part of the flower, and that's the ovary. And it's at the base, and it's the reproductive organ of the flower. And I'm going to kind of twist it out of there, and I got very lucky. It twisted out without breaking apart on me. Let me make sure you guys can see that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife, okay, very sharp blade. You would not want to do this at home without some sort of adult supervision, okay. I'm going to just put it in there. I'm going to try to find what looks like the middle, and I'm going to cut straight down, and I'm going to grab my tweezers, and I'm going to pull this apart and see if I can knock out, and I did. I got very, very lucky with that. And make sure you guys can see that. It looks like you can. Move it back up a little bit, maybe zoom in just a tad bit. And I'm going to try to hold it and see if I can scrape out some of the ovules. I've got some, they're stuck to the end of the X-Acto knife. Okay, so there you can kind of see, there's the ovules. Okay, that's the reproductive cell. All right, and there's a bunch of little round circles, and this part will become a seed when it's mixed with the pollen. And then once this becomes a seed, then a new flower can grow, and that's how the reproduction process works. And I have a picture on my phone. I hope this one will come out a little bit better than it did previously. Like I said, I'm trying to hold my phone doesn't like to, it doesn't want to operate correctly when I try to let it stand up on its own. If you look right there, you can see a little round thing. That's an ovule. And if you look closely, you'll see there's some more right there. There's a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then down here you can see one right there. So those are the ovules. Okay, they're round circles and they're circular shape, and they become a seed when mixed with the pollen. And that is basically all there is to dissecting a flower. A hibiscus flower works really, really well, but you should be able to do this with almost any kind of flower. So with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you have a chance to do this on your own at home, and I'll see you later. Have fun.